Hi, this is Zak Mir with the US Chartbreakers here at Zak's Traders Cafe for Thursday, the 23rd of October. Starting off with the S&P, which is slightly stuck against the highs, which I suppose is not surprising, towards 6770 and closed back below 6700. We've got the floor of the channel there from back in April, running level with the 50-day moving average, which is normally a good look, 6580. The only other point to note, I suppose, is the way that we've actually failed at that former RSI support line, which could be for at least aggressive traders, a sell signal down to the floor of the channel 65.80. But I suppose the overall picture here, even though there was a rug pull the other week, is that of a relatively strong market. We do break down then the 65.50 area, probably the favored area, just because that has been in the recent past and also back in September the floor for this market. Moving on to the Nasdaq and the Nasdaq 100, and here you can see that there also has been a bit of a pullback from the 25,000 zone. In this case, top of the channel here, heading for 26,000. Best case, the January resistance line projection, 26,500 by the end of next month. Ideally, we stay on the right side of 24,000, especially as the 50-day line is above that now, and ideally the RSI stays above the neutral 50 level, which it's doing at the moment, even though it's pulled back and is at 55. Moving on to the stocks, and stock which we have mentioned of late, and you can see that by the resistance, the trend lines that I've drawn. The rising trend channel, rising base trend channel there up to $1.10. Above that, we've been looking for around $1.90. And hoping for that by the end of next month, while we stay on the right side of the initial October resistance around $1.24. Moving along the list, and here we have Applied DNA, which I've already got a soft spot for, just because it sounds like a cool name for a company, and obviously it's in the right in the box seat for biotech, etc. Here we've gapped up above the rising 50-day line, a rising trend channel base there, and the floor of the channel there around $3.35. Ideally, we stay now above resistance on the way down, which was around the $4.50 level, and head up to the top of the channel as high as $8 by the end of next month. Decent mover coming up next, which is Eon, and here you can see that we bounced now on the 200-day line, the black line there around 49.59, and above that, looking for the top of the rising trend channel base, as high as 104, 105 cents by the end of next month. It's a punchy call, but a relatively punchy chart there, given the bounce off both the 50 and 200-day lines in the recent past. Moving on to a new name to us, I think, which is Estrella. And here we've got a sharply, well, potentially a sharply rising trend channel. Obviously, this is an historic view, but you've got the top of the channel there potentially heading up to the $3.70 area, looking for that by the end of next month, while we remain on the right side of $2 and recent resistance just above that particular level. You can see we've had RSI bounces around the 50 level since the second half of August, so this is a very strong looking technical situation. And next up is iBio, and here, rising trend channel base, we've gapped up off the low and basically held the gap, which held the top of the gap, in fact, 105, and above that on an end of day close basis, looking for a best case scenario target up to $2.20. You can see the 200-day line there at $2.36, but that top of that channel, if we can get there by the end of next month, we'd be quite pleased with ourselves, and we'd also be quite pleased if we can stay on the right side of a dollar in the meantime. Moving along to a stock which we have covered before, which comes in the form of Splash Beverage, and here not quite haven't quite had the rally that we were looking for, I suppose, but we do have a rising 50-day line. We've got a rising trend channel base, and above recent resistance and yesterday's low around $2.25. Looking for a best case scenario target by the end of next month, as high as $4.60, which is the potential top of the channel and top of the range for the shares since the beginning of the summer. Vicor Group Corporation rather is next, and here another stock which is absolutely flying, gapping through resistance. It's a total guess where the top of the channel is. Well, a total guess. It's 35 years of experience in terms of the guess, but $120, the top of the channel there. We're looking at that by the end of next month, especially while we're on the right side of the $80 area, probably upper 70s as well. You might have to allow for, but at least while we're above the $80 area, looking for 120 by the end of next month on that situation. VisionWave is next, and here you can see that the shares have actually fulfilled our rather optimistic dreams of hitting the $1.80 area. In fact, now it's even more difficult to work out where the shares are going to go because they've done so well. But at least while we're on the right side of the initial resistance of this week around the $1.75 level, looking for potentially a move towards $4 to $6 over the next month. That may be a little bit ambitious, but this does look like a very ambitious type of chart, a sort of cup and handle type of turnaround there. Finishing off with Winnebago, and here you can see that we've had a strange triangle formation. The top of the triangle they're heading for the $45 level. That's our target over the next couple of weeks while we remain above recent broken resistance from September through $38. So above 38, looking with 45 on Winnebago. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.